Okay, so welcome to another, let me turn this down a bit, exploration into consciousness with the Earth Nouveau Hub. And today we're going to dance at the razor's edge. Last Wednesday, we were dancing in the void. And today we're going to dance on the razor's edge. And I want to say thank you to Amy. Amy brought up that inspiration. And I'm going to pass on to you just now, Amy, how you got into this, how it came up for you, and maybe what it actually means. I didn't go into it that much, but I've got a couple of ideas. And as always, what we do is, that's not being misreading certain, laws or idioms or, theories or something. We are actually redefining it and using it as an inspiration to what we can actually learn from it, but also recreate something with it. So we will probably come up with stuff, at least, a couple of things that as I read it, I thought, okay, what can we associate with that? And how can we make this Earth Nouveau hubby, right? How can we make this us and talk about it and apply it for experiences in this reality? So that's a context to start off with. But no, the context is actually Amy's going to bring up. So we're talking about Occam's razor, right? Theory, principle. And over to you, Amy. What is it? And how?
Oh, okay. So weird how I found it, but I found it in a show that I was watching. It was a law show. And the guy just answered this other lawyer as Occam's razor when they were solving a murder. So I'm like, Occam's razor? That's kind of, what is that? So I was curious about it, and I haven't read much about it, but really it's called the law of parsimony, which is problem-solving principle. And so what they say is that the principle is that entities should not be multiplied beyond necessity, which then says the simplest explanation is usually the best one. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it says something about the term, why they use the razor is because it refers to a distinguishing between two hypotheses, either by shaving away unnecessary assumptions or cutting apart two similar conclusions. Well, that's interesting. So then I looked up the word hypothesis. Well, anyway, so Occam's razor. So a lot of mathematics uses it, biology. Occam was actually a philosopher and theologian. So they started using these in different things like that, like sciences. Then the first thought I had after reading it, I thought, well, yeah, life could be simple. Like let's live life simple, simplicity, without going into these convoluted ways of explaining or like ideas. Sometimes we go off into these, like when there's really like a simple solution. That's how I saw it at first. And then I thought, as I read on, it was like, but then maybe they're putting us in a box with this Occam's razor too. When you read about some of the science behind it, it's like, well, this is the conclusion. And the simplest way to get to the conclusion, which conclusion again is, we don't want conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm kind of like, I don't know about it now. I'm like, I don't know what this is. So it'd be great to see what other people think about it. And hopefully, okay, so wait, let me get back to hypothesis. So I looked it up, and philosophically, a hypothesis is a proposition made as a basis for reasoning without any assumptions of truth. Okay, and then the scientific part of it is a supposition or proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation. So I kind of like that. Further investigation. I didn't like the word limited evidence, but that kind of breaks it out into making it like further investigation. Like if you have one theory, let's break it apart and make it into something bigger. And the assumptions of truth, like, you know, whose truth? Is it the world's truth? Is it my truth? Is it my mother's truth? Like even dissecting those was kind of cool. So
Lovely.
yeah,
Lovely.
I have a lot here. So, you know,
you've got a lot there. Fantastic.
yeah.
Loved it. So when I read a little bit about it, I thought fabulous. It works really well because we were talking about the void last time. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm looking at the void already as a simplification, because when I look at it, what stood out for me, all I read was keep it simple, less is best, simplicity versus complexity, yeah, and the path of least resistance. Now, very much fits into the energies that we're actually talking about, the energies that are upon us, really, right? Path of least resistance and everything. And then, of course, I looked into simplicity versus complexity. Now, it's just blah, blah. We have to explore it, investigate, like you say, Amy, yeah? And that's what we do on these shows, actually. We're investigators, right? We're just exploring. You know, in order to talk about simplicity and simplifying our lives, we must actually sort of not define it, but explore it. What does simplicity actually mean in that context, right? If he says the simplest solution is always the best, yeah? How much exploration goes into that in order to come to that conclusion? And what is actually simplicity? And again, let's apply this not to the 1400s, whenever this guy and before came up. Let's apply it to this energy. What is the simplicity today that we're looking for? Because we all feel that we want to simplify our lives. And the question behind that is, when we start simplifying our lives, we've already started doing that. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to do less. I want to actually bring the context up here is simplification of our lives allows us to create more. And that's the razor's edge, right? It's like, whoa, what's going on here? And we're walking this edge at the moment because we're not here to simplify, to go back and become farmers and, you know, and that's it. No. We're looking at simplicity from a place of oneness, from a place of path of least resistance. Yeah. That's the kind of context that I'd like to look at with this. If Amy, are you happy with this? Are you okay if we go in?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like the way you're going because I wasn't sure about it after I started reading it into that. That I have to say this one quote or something that I saw that physicians, and I was like, what? So this was used in medicine and it's called the zebra. And it says a physician should reject an exotic medical diagnosis when a more commonplace explanation is more likely. So then this guy says, when you hear hoofbeats, think of horses, not zebras. And I'm like, but all of us, when we hear hoofbeats, we all think of a different animal. Like I felt that in a box kind of situation. And even like I'm thinking for medical, even from medicine, I feel sometimes is in a box. Like this is all you can take for this. This is all you can take when there's just so much more you can do, so many other modalities to make you, you know, physically feel better or, you know, so I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Well, I personally, I can't understand what they mean with zebra and horses in this particular case, but what comes up for me is that diagnosis in the medical arena is very often a limitation. And I'm not saying for one, you know, moment here that we shouldn't name it to claim it at times. This is what you've got, and then deal with it because it works for some. Yeah.
Mhm.
Having said that, it's not necessarily the truth for everyone. Some people will need the diagnosis in order to start dealing with it. Yeah. And some people will find that they are limited by a certain diagnosis because is it really that? Is the assumption? Is it a conclusion? Is that whole knowledge that we have learned until now really still relevant? Now, before Arena, I see you're getting ready to shoot. Let me just say, let me just say one thing. Simplicity, I looked it up, and we already having 5 different, topics going as usual. But simplicity, yeah, because we're talking about knowledge here. Simplicity, where was that? Simple. Definition from those funky dudes here. Simple. Simple is from Old French, from Latin simplus. The main semantic branches are freedom from duplicity, straightforward, poor, humble, deficient in knowledge. I want to be deficient in knowledge. I want to be simple. Yeah. Deficient in knowledge, you a simpleton. Yeah. Until now, that was a judgment, right? Still a judgment. But now I'm like, if somebody says, oh, you're simple, you're deficient in knowledge, thank you very much, because I'm on the razor's edge. No longer interested in the knowledge, right? I'm now interested in the wisdom that has been acquired through me, my truth, right? So the simple, we are reframing simplicity here, and actually look underneath the simple, and explore the vastness, right? And the potential, the freedom of simplicity. Hold on, does it say anything? No, the phrase pure simple dates from the late 19th century. Yeah, that's it. Free from knowledge. What did it say? Free from knowledge, or what did I say? Deficient in knowledge. Well, are we okay with that? Being deficient in knowledge? Yes! Okay, Arina, come.
May I step in? Yeah.
Yes, please.
I want to add to everything you already put on the table. It's wonderful. I want to add, you said deficient in knowledge. Let's look what kind of knowledge were advertised before we stepped into this space where we are today. It was my way, or you don't have any choice. It was kind like a direction of man-made rules. Yeah, so that one, that knowledge, what was advertised and admired by society, that was pushing us into some particular direction to explore, to structure our lives. If we add that, then yes, you don't want that knowledge anymore because it doesn't work. Universe doesn't support that direction. Just 2 choices, and you're not included into those two choices. So man-made laws, man-made knowledge, this is old style of universe, how I see it. This is what we were exploring, agreeing to go to limitations, that duality limitations direction, explore what we can do if we're so minimal of remembering who we are, like you, Martina, said, our wisdom. And what is that wisdom? It's never wisdom of the brain. It's all the time wisdom of the heart. What you feel, what you know about from inside, about this life. This is what we admire looking at older people who kind like bright. Not what education they received, what kind of experience they had. It's all the time structured from your choices. So your choices from your heart. In addition to that, previous program about void, I missed it, and it was so funny because I was teaching about void. Hello. So that void, that my direction of teachings, not my personal, but what I'm following, recognize energetic space inside of heart. It's not physical space, but energetic space inside of heart that is void. And if you look at golden mean spiral, not Fibonacci, but golden mean, it never stops and never starts. It's infinitely big or infinitely imploding into infinitely small, but it's continuing forever. So this is principle how universe unfolding. Our physical reality structured by Fibonacci sequence and spiral that has beginning, doesn't have end, but has beginning. It's kind of like everything unfolding here. So that multiple potentials that you can follow, you can recognize in everything around you. But universe never starts, never stops. It's just an experience. So if you look into that spiral and you go through your physical heart as point of crossing from infinitely big to infinitely small, you come to infinitely small universe that we call female universe inside of your heart, that void that we recognize everything in potential. This is from where we are bringing everything into infinitely big universe, into our physical experience. So if you look into that, it's very simple. It's very simple. If you know how to enter that space inside of your heart, that infinitely small universe, void, everything and nothing, everything in potential, and you know how to use your power, you creator, you are being who are having experience, you are consciousness, then yes, life is very simple. You just go there and you bring whatever you want to bring into this outer universe, outer space, and explore it.
Beautiful. Now you've just really put it nicely together, what we did last time, the void space, the simplicity. What links it together is the oneness. Yeah. And I want to add non-judgment into this. Yeah. Consciousness, which is everything. It judges nothing. So even if we say we want to go beyond the knowledge that we have accumulated until now, it doesn't mean that we are saying whatever we have accumulated until now, knowledge or knowingness or wisdom, whatever we call it, we're not poo-pooing it. Yeah. We just want to go beyond that. We want to get into that magic, into that place of we never considered that a possibility. Yeah.
Like Amy said, it's not a limitation that, how you said, about proposition, or how you named it.
Assumptions.
Assumption. It's not limitation. It's only one of possibility how to look at that.
Yes. Yes. I mean, assumptions and expectations can be limitations depending on the perceiver. Yeah. If you take it as an interesting point of view, well, then it's just an interesting point of view. Yeah. Somebody assuming, or even yourself assuming something, and being open to that being changed in the next 10 seconds or something, you know? So this is, I love that, because, you know, we got the oneness. That includes the void, that includes the simplicity, the complexity, the complicating things, what we have done in the last 54 million years, yeah? All the lies that we have bought, you know, through the conditioning and everything, that's what we're going to let go of now. That's when the simplicity comes through. That's when we're stepping onto this razor's edge. Or we're on this razor's edge now, because we really have to, you know, what is really the solution for that? And what if there is actually not just one solution? So that's what I'm saying. Simplicity is not limiting. It's the opposite. Simplicity is, as we're letting go of the complexity, we're getting into that space of simplicity, of oneness, where we can actually consider anyone's truth, no matter how many millions of truths we have, as a possibility to choose or not to choose, depending on your heart's desire. Yeah. Now, I think it was it Alfredo He was saying, I don't need to know, because Irina was lovely discussing, I don't need to know anymore. He says, I used to be addicted to know everything. And you know what? Absolutely. Talking about back to knowingness, yeah? It is an addiction. It is an addiction to be right. Sometimes people are addicted to be wrong. You know, it's an addiction to this polarity. They're addicted to be wrong so that they can, you know, play the victim card. That's an addiction too. But we're getting to a stage where we actually have to ask ourselves the very, very good question I learned in Access is, do I want to be right or do I want to be free?
It's like a scientist got caught into research and they forgetting for what sake they started that research. This was kind of like our way. We were so addicted to knowledge that we forgot why we started that knowledge, why we started looking into how it made, what it made of. So now we have possibility to step a little bit back and look at everything that's going on and choose what is working for you. Like you said, be happy, be free.
Yeah, that's such a simple question. Eh? Whenever you go into resistance, reaction, yeah. Even if you're aligning and agreeing with somebody and get really enthusiastic about that, you're still locking yourself into a certain, you know, frame of mind that you don't necessarily want to be in anymore. Yeah, it takes the freedom away. Every time you want to be right, yeah, you're not free. It's not that. Amy, are you okay? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can. So I wanted to go back. I'm sorry, I missed the question, but I wanted to go back when you were explaining about the simplicity and we have all these truths. And I saw, you know, even with what Alfredo said, that you don't need knowledge to pick one of those truths that you want to choose. That doesn't take knowledge to pick that from your heart.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, knowledge. It's obviously helping for us to express ourselves, right?
We can use that knowledge. We can use that knowledge whenever we want, but it's not point of choice. Your point of choice coming from inside of you, and then you can use any knowledge that is around you, and it's available today.
So let's I'm sorry. I guess I think when I think of knowledge, I think of like book knowledge, you know, more than experiences, where I think experiences is where you get your wisdom from, and that doesn't take knowledge. Some, I'm not saying, you know, we have some, but I just felt that, I don't know, I guess that's where I'm going, is that I don't need that book knowledge that I thought that I needed anymore to do what I'm doing now in this moment in time.
Yes, and again, let's just say we're not slagging it off, because let's just say knowledge. When I look at knowledge, I look at languages. Yeah, for instance, knowing different languages, which allows me to express myself in different countries, right? Or express myself in a certain way. So this is not against knowledge or learning stuff or something like that. Absolutely not. You know, obviously you guys know all that. But this is inviting the additional allowance, trust, to allow yourself to act, you know, from a place of unknowingness. Yeah, it doesn't take out the knowledge; it's still there. Remember what we discussed the other day. You know, the coins. There's always, it's there. It's not going away. It's all there, and we have access to it. And the question is now, how can we actually find an even better solution? Yeah, to what we've had until now. Hi, Robin.
Hi.
Good to see you. I haven't seen you for some time.
Yeah, the timing is like right in the middle of the day for me. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of times I don't get done in time to be here. So yeah. I just looked at the clock and I said, oh, geez, maybe I can catch some.
No, good to have you here. Fantastic.
Thanks. Thanks.
So is there anything you guys want to add to what we've already discussed before we bring up some new stuff? I mean, we go back and forth the whole time anyway, but all good. So
Can I say something?
yes.
So when you guys were talking, I was thinking about the word colloquial. How would the word colloquial fit in with the word simplicity?
Remind
Because colloquial is
how is it defined?
to be,
Colloquial?
yeah, it's like well, Andrew usually uses the term colloquial now teacher, you know, is using the English language in a more current present way and keep it simple, so when something is being explained, it's understood by the present you know, population of listeners.
Yes.
Because the language is kept simple and not complicated. Like, for example, you're not going to speak Shakespeare's English to explain galactic history or anything else. You're going to keep it with a language that, you know, is like more like street language where everyone can understand. So that's, to me, keeping it simple, isn't it?
Yes, I would say so. I think that that fits in nicely. It's, you know, used in ordinary familiar conversation. That's what we do, basically. We take these, you know, interesting phrases and the philosophies and just picking them apart, really, and make them for us to have an experience with, you know.
Yeah.
But today, if you look into world, everything on the table, and we have those colloquials for everyone different. So we have today, I would say, multiplicity of everything on the table. No one is demanding today something particular. So everything accepted and everything on the table. And to simplify that, this is where you need to remember who you are and your choices for your experience.
Now this, let me just, this is perfect what you just said, Irina, because that brings us back, this links it really nicely with the Occam's razor again, you know, because this is exactly the energy we're in. We're in the energy of diversification. Everyone has their own truth. And at the same time, we're going into oneness with those truths, right? And this is the fascinating thing. And this is what the energy is all about. Now, the energy last year, or even beginning of the year, and this is another thing I want to bring into this, was all about self-mastery, self-healing, and sovereignty. And it's still there. It was all about being heard, being seen. Let your voice be heard, expressed. This is why we're doing all of that, yeah? Now, once you have found your diverse way of expression and your own truth and continue doing that, the next level of that, and that's already what's happening here, is now turn it around. Have your sovereignty fortified like that, and then start listening. So the next level that's coming in with this energy, this is why teachers are falling away. Yeah, we no longer need to just, you know, learn to get rid of all the old and the limitations and to simplify, but we now have to also learn to listen to ourselves, to the inner voice here, without necessarily having to express it. Do you find that in your world, that all of a sudden, I can feel it with my Facebook post. I used to do it Facebook, but every day, blah, 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 something, and it's not necessary anymore, right? It's like, most of us have clients or work with other people, and there was this need to help, right? Oh, just because you see a pattern, you have 5,000 solutions, not just one. Sorry, Occam, you know, to actually help these people. But now it's like, it's okay. I see the pattern. It's okay. You don't ask me, you don't get. Not in a separation perspective, but from a place of, it's not required anymore. I can now listen without having to Unless we're obviously on a show like that where everybody's invited to talk. Yeah. So I'm not saying just listen to me and let me do the blah, blah. No, you know what I mean? But, you know, this is the thing. Do you find that too? That you almost like, oh, I'd rather sit at home and be drawing instead of listening to teachers or coming up with my own teachings and stuff like that. What do you think? You got that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Martina, I think that if I may, since
yeah.
I've only been hearing you guys on the recording, that it's a pleasure to be here and participate in person. And I think that you're really hitting on some great points with these video communications. And today, you know, when I first heard colloquial, my first experience was I went to a place that was like, they were saying it's too old, it's too outdated. You know, the vibrations connected to this word won't fit in the vibration that wants to come in now. Mm-hmm. And so even though Andrew may use it, for me, that verbiage took me to a time and place that's not going to help me right now. Mm-hmm. You know, but the words that you all offered with that did. And the one thing for me is, you know, I've been teaching forever. You know, I taught middle school, I taught science, I taught art, I've taught lots and lots and lots of things. I've got, you know, in Florida for 20 years, I wasn't doing one thing. I would do 3 or 4 things at a time for like 10 or 15 years. So lots of experience. But what has really come to me is that during this whole time is that, like you were saying, Martina, when I first started my pages, I didn't do it personally. I just did it publicly. And I lost the first whole 3 or 4 years of printing or posting every day. And then I got a new one and I was posting every day. It was like this compulsion almost that I need to connect to the people. I need to put something out there. And then, you know, I went from 2009, 2013, 2015, 16. I mean, every set of those years brought tremendous things, but each time it was like, took away, which no longer really was going to help us or who I would meet. Mm-hmm. And forced me to deal with a lot of ugly, horrendous self-brain, like being locked into this crazy squid game that I couldn't get out, but I was shooting my own self all the time. And they had convinced me to do it to me. And so I found I was always reaching out to somebody else to help me anchor back down into my own knowingness. Mm-hmm. And I kept feeling disappointment. Every time I would meet somebody big that I thought would help anchor me or give me tools to anchor me in, they didn't do anything to help me. So I have really come to the embodying what you're saying is that, you know, I can go where I'm led and hear people that I'm led to share with or to hear. But ultimately, then I think the real focus for at least me now is to take that all internally, say, how does it help me be the best I can be so I can help anybody else that comes in my path today at this moment now?
Yes.
So,
yes, absolutely.
We all got to take that. We are the diamond in the rough, or we are the diamond shining brightly already, and we just don't, excuse my language, fuck know it, and be it. You know, each one of you ladies and whoever else I can't see that I've been listening to for the last few months, y'all got some great deep embodiments, and we all bring a part of that puzzle, and we all have to say, I'm damn good enough, and whatever I have, I came for a purpose to use what I have, and my DNA skin suit was given to me so that I could perform and handle those vibrations now, you know?
Yeah.
So sorry, that's my tirade.
No. Thank you very much for the contribution and for not aligning and agreeing, because they're not for sharing your experience that resonates with the group.
Whenever do I totally do that.
Yes. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome. Thank you. Who said that?
Thank you, Robin.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
I resonate with that.
One man
Yay.
today, Alfredo is here holding.
That was me.
And Lana, yes. Lana,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love listening to you guys. When I'm listening to you, I go, oh, that's Amy's talking. oh, that's Shoba talking. Oh, you know, and it's really because when I come home after work and it's already done, I'll get doing something, but I'll put you guys on and listen to you as I'm doing it. So I just, you know,
Oh,
it's
so
a great
nice.
network.
It's so nice, you know, when I get feedback from people, you know, to, because we are like 10, 12 people at times, you know, but we don't necessarily know who we're impacting, right? Because so many people listen afterwards. And then, you know, the odd one says, hey, oh, I listen to your shows all the time. I'm like, oh, really? That's fantastic. And, you know, the one person that we can change their life is we're changing the world by changing one person's life, by not trying to be smart, but just by sharing our enthusiasm, our joy, and whatever the hell we've learned, you know, and whatever we are experiencing, and helping each other. It's so good. I'm loving this. Now, I want to read Jennifer's comment here. Amy's comment about not needing to be book smart. Book smart. I like it. Now sparked a realization in me that book smart is someone else's knowledge. And the more I become self-illuminated and come to my own understanding, absolutely, I don't need anyone else knowledge anymore. So that's what Robin was saying as well. So thanks for acknowledging that, you know, and book smart. I like that. Having said all that, I have to add something, of course, you know. Sometimes it's just the word you pick up in a book, or like a sentence or something. And this is what we're doing here, right? We're picking up some words, we're picking up some stuff, and we're making it our own, or we're looking at the different faces of whatever that is, you know? To be honest, I don't think I'm not a guru person, yeah, but I've always been looking at the different teachings. Okay, what can I pick? I'm like a magpie. I just pick what I like, and then I put it together myself, yeah. And that's what I do. My writing is that. And in the beginning, I remember I often judged myself for getting inspiration from other people because I thought I had to sort of channel it or some shit like that, yeah. I didn't realize that, no, I was picking it and somebody else would not have picked that, right? It was me picking it. And that's what made the difference. That's what made it unique. And then also we are all alchemists. So we are taking that, whatever that is, and alchemize it. And that doesn't necessarily just have to be through the voice that comes through the writing, through the drawing. That's what I do. I don't know how to draw, yeah? I'm not a fucking artist. I just start, and all of a sudden, oh, that looks nice. I don't consider myself an artist, but I just pick and choose. Oh, I like that leaf. Okay, let's put that in. You know, it's like Matty said, you know, that thing. He showed me that door, and I thought, I was drawing, and I thought, what do I do with this? And then he said, oh, I thought about you when I saw that gate, and I'm like, fuck yes. They included it, and it was exactly what I required at the time. So I had realized that Hub of Interconnectivity, they work with you. You have an intention, you put something out. It's not for you to well, it is you anyway. Oneness again, simplicity, your hub of interconnectivity. And I see this every fucking time I do a show. It was with AB, it is with you guys. I just think of something, let's do that, or like Amy came up with that. And then all of a sudden in the days to come, that's why I wait till the last minute, yeah? Because on the day, some inspiration comes in and say, oh, why don't you talk about that? Okay. And that's as simple as it is. Right?
Yes. You know, that's the best way to flow. Sorry. That's the best way to flow is to say, make a plan. Okay, we're going to get together, but to leave it open to what's supposed to be happening at that moment in time to actually have the energies to fruit, you know, to bear fruit. And, you know, when you're hearing something or you're seeing something, not only, you know, you can see and you hear, but you also are feeling. So you feel their intent, you're feeling their heart waves going out long before they ever say a word, you know?
Yes.
So there's, you know, the unseen world is like going from your center point out to the furthest point that you exist, you know, and it can be anywhere on any of that point. And
Yeah.
so, you know, who knows what we're doing, but we can do so much more, and they want us to believe that we can't. This time is so ultimate for us all to dig in and to light that sparkler that we are. You know, I don't know if you all are familiar with our 4th of July sparklers, but you can light it.
We had them for Christmas in Austria. I remember those.
Yeah.
Now, what comes up for me there is, you know, I do like to have a topic, kind of a topic, because that allows the hubs to start working. Yeah. And I know I throw it out late because my hubs are lazy and they only come in late with the ideas, but it's always good to have an intention for something. And what I want to say again with simplicity versus complexity here, to step back onto the razor here, this is how we create now. The intention, yes, focus, but not like, oh my God, focus, razor's edge. Now what is that? La la la. No, that doesn't have to be that chemical reaction behind it, right? Just no intention. That's it. Okay, and then see what comes. Simple. We don't have to go into complexity. Oh my God, I have to do research now for 5 days just because Amy told me 6 days ago that that's what we're going to do, right? You know what I mean? It's that. And that is really, 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 really important, because that brings in the path of least resistance, which came up for me when we talk about this Occam guy.
You make less emotional bank deposits that way too. When you get all in a tear about something and all concerned, oh my God, I've got to do this. Right now, you've taken your energy level and you've like multiplied it, quadrupled it, and then you've stored it in this money bank, which is really an emotional bank. And now you've put so much energy into that it actually has more energy to create than when you say, oh, I'll just have a good intent. See, so we have to kind of understand that our level of intensity too, you know, will create.
Okay. I got something for you here, which I was going to bring up too. I hear that. I hear you. Now, new energy. New energy. What did we talk last time? We talked about the third law of Newton. Obviously, we completely reframed it and took it apart and, you know, talked about it differently. But every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So let's just, in this new energy, simplicity, oneness, path of least resistance, let's look at excessive desire, excessive focus. What does it do? Excessive focus creates opposite, equal reaction. The message to the universe is, don't give it to me. In order to keep the equilibrium forces going.
May I add a little bit pepper to our conversation?
Please, yeah.
I want to add subject of ancestral experience, not death, not karma, but ancestral experience. Everything we are discussing now, like you said, don't give to me, universe, make it simple. I want it simple. But we came to this life to integrate as much of ancestral experience as we can. So yes, this is that recognition through outside world that is making our life not so simple, that you still can put into basket of your soul that kind of experience to move through creation. So let's look at ancestral experience, not as karma, but as possibility to remember what we did then in those lives and just bring it into our wholeness today to continue that exploration of new possibilities and be able to assist that closure for old world that is going, shrinking. Even you recognized last time that is not shrinking. Yes, it's not shrinking as creation, but as old world, it is going into seed because we are already in brand new one.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we are in that transition. We need to close that for us personally to step into new. And this is still open for us, that gathering those eggs into basket of soul. It's my vision.
No, I know, and I know. I'm just looking. I'm just processing that, because I'm not a bigger fan of closure as such. I'd like to have a little look-see, right?
Well,
Back
instead
to the
of
past.
closure,
No, the most important life is now, but I'm quite happy to look back when I have to.
Why?
The choice. Exactly, for remembering. If I would be remembering everything now, then I'd be happy to close it, but I know I'm not.
I like the way that Andrew addresses it sometimes, and he'll just say, you're able to access the knowledge or the information that you gained from it, but the emotional tags that might drain you or take you somewhere else, we release those and we allow those to be returned back into the unmanifested, or whatever has it wants to take it on themselves and go somewhere else and not interfere anymore. Okay, fine. But yeah, the ancestral, I think that's one of the reasons why they're doing the DNA thing so heavily, is because I do think that we've come back into family lines or specific genetical lines so that we can have that DNA skin suit. But I think now, by understanding that we're living multi-dimensionally or simultaneously lives, that it's giving us a better opportunity right now to take some of those and let some of the things dissipate that aren't serving us, and just keep the information that we need, but just let the other kind of just like a cloud. You look at a cloud and you just focus on it, it can dissipate.
Yeah.
If you see everything as just an experience, as Andrew proposing, to see everything just an experience, when you step out from duality, good or bad, then you want to celebrate. We are missing point of celebration. Whoa, I went through that experience. We're not allowing ourselves that integration as celebration. And if you're not celebrating, you're missing that point of, yes, this is what I did. This is what, you want to look back because you're missing point of celebration. Look at me, what I went through, soul, what I had experience of in that all 54, whatever years, millions.
Right. Okay, well, a perfect point. I love the neutral observation. Everything is just data. Let's add this, of course, to everything. And Irina, of course, celebration is huge. Celebration is huge. Yeah. But celebration as such doesn't have, again, it's just pure celebration. Yeah. Again, without judgment. It's not like, oh, I'm so good now because I've done this or that. No, it's that. Yeah. So celebration absolutely is part of the joy. It's part of the path of least resistance, actually. It's part of the simplicity.
And think of it as a way of really building that other bank account full of joy and enthusiasm and power to go. So you're taking your point of depositing it into this one bank deposit, and you're learning how to make it now in the one that will help you move forward, that excitement, that joy, because every time you get excited about it, whether you do anything with it or not, you're now adding that energy to your reservoir, your flow of energy, and you can tap into that at any time, and you can build on it anytime, and you don't ever deplete it because it's your awareness of your own being. So it grows.
Exactly. In my research, what I understand, and I already mentioned before in our discussions, that there is another emotional body that is connected to our experience, that we can connect today consciously, that excitement, that bliss emotional body, without connotation of brain, what bliss is, without limitations of bliss. And actually, more expanded beings in consciousness, they recognize that bliss, our bliss, duality bliss, they are lowest emotional state. So this is the direction of our exploration of possibilities, being in that bliss, but not duality, not limited bliss, that expansion of celebration.
Yes, fabulous. So it's the simplicity, to go back to our simple simplicity, is it's almost like a union of opposites. A union of opposites. It's beyond just focusing for me, energetically. It's a union of, it's appreciation for everything. No longer going into duality, no longer going into polarity, into chemical reaction. Everything is just data and just create. Yeah. Simple, right? If it were so.
If you think
Can
about
I
it,
say? Oh,
you're doing. I'll close up in just a second, Amy. But you were as you were talking and saying opposites. I think of it, to help me at times, is I think of it as it's a big sloop, an emotional path, and in this emotional path, you can be really this or you can be really this, and they can seem like it's a duality, but it's components of fully expressing this, you know. So I just try to, when that comes up like a duality, I go, no, they're both 2 points on a circle, on a sphere, and they're just representing different points of time and energy, you know. And so, and that they're all part of that whole. So I try to like stop myself from getting caught in this idea of duality nowadays, and remind myself that if the pendulum is swinging, it's still the pendulum. It's still on the same string. It's, you know, if you let it, it'll make its paths, its orbitals, it'll make its figure eights, it'll make an elliptical path, and, you know, it will have those far-reaching, seemingly duality thoughts or actions, but it's a part of one pattern. So that's what I try to remind myself, is that it's not a duality. They're just 2 points out of this circle, out of this sphere.
The sacred relationship of all things.
Yeah.
That's the point for us. Having a body is all about relationship. Now, the ship has changed. The space we're going through has changed, and the way we're relating has changed. But we're still in relation with all of that. Absolutely. Amy.
oh, okay. So back to what Irina, just one word you said totally changed my thoughts on the word knowledge. And that was research instead of knowledge. That's what I feel I'm doing, is research. And I looked it up, and it's investigation into sources to establish facts, and, or not even fact, let's take that out, to reach new conclusions. So you're researching, and I just saw all these, like, you can have, and not conclusions, because, you know, but new ways of thinking, new ways that will help navigate you into where you want to go or need to be. So I don't know, I like that word, research.
And just to point out, this show is called Exploring Investigating Consciousness.
Cool.
What we're doing.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
So we can go on forever and ever and ever.
We're detectives. We're detectives.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know something,
there's-
Martina, only recently,
Yes.
like a few days ago, I was, I don't know what I was doing, but I was looking at something, and suddenly I noticed exactly what you just said, because I always used to refer to the show as Art Nouveau and not, you know, what do you say, Exploring Consciousness. So I just realized that that's the name of your show.
Yes, that's the name of our show. Yes, with the Earth Nouveau Hub. Because that's my niche, exploring consciousness. Fuck everybody, all these networkers. What's your niche? Well, exploring consciousness.
So that's what we do every time we get
do,
together.
right?
We
I was like,
explore more and more.
good job at it, right? Tanya, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I do. So I saw a really interesting movie last night called Chaos Walking, and it was about the human race having explored a new planet, and on this planet, men's thoughts were physical things, and it was really interesting because this chaos of our thought process. I want to go kind of back to simplicity and, you know, some of the things that I've been working on and with clients and myself. And is that coming back to that portal of the heart, right? And being able to hold that divine neutrality where things are very simple, right? Where you can be triggered, but you can have the consciousness to say, oh, wait a minute, something just triggered me, and what was that, and why was that? And now I can dive down that rabbit hole. But this simplicity of this, you know, people in your life who are not serving the greatest good, right? A lot of those people now have left my life, right? I'm sure all of you have seen the same thing, and that's coming back to that, just the simplicity of being within the heart center, right? That contains everything, right? And oh, by the way, I'm the zebra today, not the horse. So I just thought it was really interesting when we're in that duality space, and you know, Robin's talking about the pendulum, right? Swinging widely, right? I see it as almost like a wave, like a sine wave or a cosine wave, right? Where there's very high highs and there's very low lows. And, you know, my goal is to get to this kind of like place of evenness, right? And that's simplicity for me, right? That emotional simplicity where we're not going, oh, freaking out, right? At something that happens, we can say, okay, like, how am I going to work with this? How am I going to look at it? Like, you can have this objective point of view that is a very simple way of looking at things.
Now, what comes up when you say that, Tanya, is you say evenness, yeah? Does it have to be even? Or, because when I look at the flow for me is that there is no such thing. It's a wave, right? It's got to be a wave.
Of course. Yeah.
And it's like getting back to the point of, okay, I don't have a cross here, no. But the cross, remember? When you have a cross, we did some cross work the other day, but I think it was in a different context. But I always like, you know, the cross in the middle or the breath between coming back to that. It doesn't matter how far you go out or how many waves there are, and you can shout, and you can still do that. And I don't want to lose that. Time where I want to be able to step into that. I step into it less and less, but I want to be able to do that because I'm still a human being. And you know what? Sometimes it's required. Sometimes shouting and cursing, I use it a lot for entity work. Yeah. It's required. So I just think about, I don't want to lose that, but it just takes a split second out that chuck, I'm back in that space of the cross in the middle.
Maybe
Right. I guess my point for that is it's more of an awareness, right? It's like you're not doing it automatically, right? You're not being triggered and behaving from your parasympathetic nervous system, right? You have an awareness, or you know, have an awareness that I'm going to this place, right? Yeah. And then I can come back.
Yes.
Can come back.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I can cast that energy outwards.
Yes.
Right. And then still from this center, center space, which is the space of tranquility.
It can be in two places at once. Remember, you are multidimensional being, so you're not limited just to one experience. And as I see, this is our beginning of that multidimensional being, to be in two places. That center, what I was discussing as a void of your heart, this is that center when you are universe, when you are everything and nothing at the same time. And at the same time having human experience, yes, consciously walking through this life 24/7, doing your whatever fun for you.
So
Tanya,
yeah.
I was going to say, when Tanya, when she was talking about the wave, and she was talking about, wanting to get a flow between the two instead of the highs and the lows, a more even keel. And so is like listening to your spirit talking. And what I was hearing is like, I want to be able to experience life and have those things that are really great and really awful, but not be pulled, to still be able to function from what I think is a fairly even keel. And I think that's a good way to put it, is that we are in this energy field, and we do get things. And because we are learning and we're trying to drop the old things, we're still, you may be slipping down in the muck before you realize your foot is in the muck and say, oh, I don't want to go through that muck anymore. And, but then again, you may have to take a step or two in it to get out of it without falling on your face. But to me, your verbiage and your body language said, I want to be able to experience and not cut out any part of life. I still want to be able to experience life as it is, but I want to be the person who's keeping myself on a more even keel.
So what we're saying here is, in one sentence, is that we cannot perceive anything that is beyond our judgment, right? Nothing that is beyond our judgment we can't perceive. That's really, 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 really important. So the opposite of that is stay in the sacred neutral. Stay in non-judgment. When you stay in non-judgment, then you have full awareness. Then you can see the good, the bad, the ugly, the sad. Saying it in an opposite ways, whenever you go into judgment, good or bad, you limit the view that you have, you limit your awareness, and then we can't perceive it. So let's go back for simplicity. When we over complicate things, when we focus on something too much, over desire almost, yeah, then we create a limitation on the other side that can work against us. It's just a limiting, and this is the energy we're in now as the masters that we are, yeah, without hierarchy and judgment and all that shit, yeah. It's almost like, yes, celebration, yes, joy, yes, that. Anything that you overdo takes you out of that equilibrium. We no longer need to create through polarity. We no longer need to create. We don't just have to be happy, 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 and then everything is happy. No, that's not the new energy. Have you had experiences with that? I'm experiencing that. I'm thinking, there is something that I'm not seeing. There's nothing. I've pot and pocked everything. I've got rid of all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, separations. Why am I not getting this? What is this? And I'm like, shit, am I wanting it too much? Am I over desiring it to get out of this equilibrium? Am I actually attracting the opposite because we're no longer doing this polarity game? It's now intent.
Martina, as you were saying that, I was thinking, are you working against yourself in a sort of a forced evolution way? When you were saying, I'm doing all these things, but I'm not getting it. Could it be that we are working against our own self?
Well,
Force evolution,
there is
force evolving our own self.
There is a forcing in it. It's an over desiring. So to give you an example, I mean, it's very simple. I always thought I would like to have a farm. Yeah. Move out of London and then start doing, you know, workshops there. And it's nice and it's serving the world. It's a contribution and it's this and that. And, you know, I don't really have not that much, you know, that I could think that keeps me from that. I'm thinking, what is this? And it's been for years I've been thinking this, right? Yeah. And it's just, but it's almost like that over desiring it that doesn't allow me to see the other opportunities. There's something much bigger out there that I haven't seen, because very congruently, it works with my purpose, it works with my means, it works with everything. But there is a forcing in it, a forcing of desire that, because I almost wanted it too much.
Yeah.
And now I've said, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I would
it's like, one second. It's like you are subconsciously forcing it to be. You want it so badly that, as I said, subconsciously you're force evolving yourself, not knowing that you're doing it.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, it's like, but that's what I'm trying to say here is have an intent. Yeah, it might feel light, it might feel happy, but if it doesn't happen, well, then don't beat yourself up. There is something else there. So path of least resistance.
Yeah, because you don't want to sabotage your own self.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like sabotage, and it feels it has all the good, you know, energies to it, and it feels all, yeah, law of attraction and all of that. But no, it's not what I need to do, apparently. Finally, I'm getting it. Okay, cool. Say something else.
I will bring here topic of ancestral experience again, because this is maybe that saying that that ancestor, this farm did something and had some kind of experience, that you need to look today into that experience and integrate something. And in my vision, it is that returning back our magic. Like you said, intention, and you have it. This is what we are returning, canceling those contracts, vows, agreements that we were creating to limit ourselves. And it can be maybe number one point of looking at our ancestral experience today, because we are in 2021 and already it's 2022 on our doorway. So maybe that thing, returning back that magic into our lives.
That's what we're talking about today. Simplicity, path of least resistance, and don't just apply it to when stuff goes bad and doesn't feel right, you know. Having said that, there is an indication when you want something and it's not happening and it's starting to feel a bit heavy, right? Why don't I still have it? And that is an indication when it starts feeling heavy. Okay, I get it. Like
so at that moment, we can cancel what is making it heavy, what is not allowing that intention.
Yes. Now, hold on, darling. Yeah, now I've done this. That's the next level. We're talking about the next level. I've done this. I've canceled pretty much everything. Oh, there might be something that I haven't canceled. God knows. But then I looked at it and said, this is starting to feel heavy. Why is this so fucking heavy? What haven't I canceled yet, right? And then the awareness came in and says, no, Schnuckli, you're not supposed to do this. Like Irina said, it might have been something I have done in the past, but the awareness is it's something I will be doing in the future, but not in this life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everything could look fantastic and you've done the work. That's what I'm saying, guys. Self-mastery, sovereignty, healing, we've done it, we keep doing it. And the next level is magic. Stuff you intend, sit back, action will come. Do the action, follow the energy. If stuff gets heavy, ask yourself the question, what am I chasing in this life here now that is completed? Or is the time now? No, I've asked 1,000 times, is the time now, is the time now? But I didn't realize that the time was not in this lifetime. Having said that, I'm going to get rid of that too, because maybe that changes depending on my circumstances. But that's the tool. Yeah. Again, access tool. When something starts feeling heavy, there's no magic in heaviness, not the magic we're working with. We're not working with black dog magic. Yeah. Then let it go, put it aside and say, okay, what else is possible? There's a simple solution for the heaviness that you carry. There's probably something else you need to add. Who or what can you add to your life?
Can I say something here?
Yes.
I was thinking about what Irina was saying about the bringing in the ancestral knowledge from the past and integrating it with our current moment of now, being that we are becoming multidimensional beings. And it triggered my thought to think about, how does this tie in with the Mandela effect?
Well, the Mandela effect, the revocation is written, is all about that.
Yeah,
The
but
Mandela effect revocation, if you want to bring your shards, parts, and avatar in, do the Mandela. That's what.
Well, no, the Mandela effect, the way that I was thinking in my train of thought right now was that the Mandela effect is remembering lifetimes that you may have had, the memories, to bring them back in. And that's like knowledge and wisdom coming back to you that you could not have remembered before.
Yes.
And this could include ancestral memories, because you are your ancestor at the same time. So that's why I'm bringing up the Mandela effect, because that has opened up for us now, which never was in the past. This is something new that exists for everyone to be a part of, to draw upon, and get the memories flowing back in.
Absolutely. And thanks for mentioning it. It's a very good tip. This is a good time to go back and revisit the Mandela revocation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like when I posted the void thingy, that's also for most of us people here to work with. I put that into the hub. But Mandela, absolutely, Lana. Yeah, good point. So that falls nicely into that, bringing all that. Thanks, Arena, as well, for mentioning that. The answer, of course, this is all that part of path of least resistance, bringing all that in and working from it. No longer something that needs fixing, but what can we add? Yeah, getting out of the fixing mindset. Yeah, that doesn't mean that we still, but the energies are really serving us at the moment. I don't know if you feel that, but you wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, whatever I had yesterday, I don't even have to run the clearing anymore. Everything, all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, what I've done this day, destroy and uncreate all my relationships with everyone, everything. Don't have to do it anymore because it happens automatically.
I like the statement, keeping it simple, because I remember from time to time, if I'm doing something and I'm not getting it done, or it's getting too complicated and I'm getting tired, I'll say to myself, Lana, just keep it simple. Why are you complicating everything? And when you get to that point where you acknowledge keeping it simple, the answers start to flow to you, and you get your whole body relaxes, and everything starts to calm down and less complicated, and you can work it all out in peace and harmony from that moment. Just to keep it simple. I like the topic.
Thank you. So you create that space. So what we can do when we go into this contracted space, like Lana just explained, we can just expand ourselves out. Just take your beingness and expand out beyond the physicality, beyond the house, beyond the, country, up into the central sun and all of it. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I can breathe again. Because our bodies do get.
But even as soon as you acknowledge the phrase, keep it simple, a whole new experience moment open up for you. A whole new bubble of reality is surrounding you. to bring in a new flow of resolution for whatever you're experiencing in the moment.
Yeah.
It's like the remedy and the resolve is right there in front of you. The moment you say that phrase, keep it simple, Lana, keep it simple.
There's another saying that that I started using in 2005 when I became a Bowen therapist. They have the saying, less is best. Okay, and again, we have to put in context, because less is best doesn't mean that we are limited beings, yeah, and we can have a multitude of experiences at the same time, simultaneously, and all of that. But less is best is applied in the Bowen technique, is applied to the body, where you actually really make certain movements in a certain direction with a certain pressure in order not to confuse, like with massage, you're like all over the place, to allow actually the muscle communicate with the brain, with the autonomic nervous system, and for the body to get back into the remembrance of the original healthy blueprint. And sometimes you do very little, because often when you any kind of physical therapy can trigger emotions, and if you work beyond or on top of that, you actually not allowing to release it. As soon as the body says ow something, just let it process. Yawning, little tear, all of that. And that's the other thing which we started last time to talk about. What are you avoiding in your life? So no more avoiding any emotions, not trying to fix them. We are masterful enough now to sit with it. Yeah. This is no longer when you get an emotion, it's not because you haven't self-mastered and blah, blah. No. First of all, the first question is always, who does it belong to? Is it yours or not? Because everything we're letting go now is collective anyway. Most of it collective, ancestral, which is collective again, so just simple.
Yes.
You make me think of the phrase less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Less is best, less is more.
Yep. And again, not to be misunderstood, somebody would say, oh, this is not true, unlimited point of view. We know that that's not what we're talking about. We are using those principles in order to allow ourselves to be expansive. And even the expansion itself has changed for us. What we considered expansive maybe 3 months ago is no longer expansive. For me, expansion now is sitting and Googling. That's expansive. Putting the music on. Never used to be that. I couldn't literally not do that. I was like, okay, what else can I learn? What else can I seek? I've been a seeker all my life. I mean, the reason why I never opened the yoga studio after COVID was basically because I didn't want to teach it anymore. Why? Because then I didn't have time to do it for myself. Now I do it for myself. And the teaching is completely different. I only do Kundalini for myself. I don't do the other teaching. I only have one class now, which I do on Skype. And that's with people that I know, they know what they're doing, so I can actually get my own workout. I've become selfish. No, of course not. I've actually stopped, giving my energy to everyone because I'm no longer that needy. Mm-hmm. It's a neediness, guys. Helping is a neediness. Marta, been there, done it. Not necessary anymore. Somebody asked me, of course I'd do it. But they don't ask me, they don't get. What else comes up? Amy, is there something that you still wanted to talk about that we haven't covered with your razor here? Keep it simple. Let me see what I've got. Yeah, I think I have it.
Not really. Hold on. There was something. Yeah. Not really. This was great. This was great how we ended up where we ended up.
So maybe there's a question with all of this simplicity, right? We're talking about simplicity and oneness and all of that. So whatever you're choosing, be it now simple or complex, or are you including yourself? Is there a contribution to yourself when you're choosing it? Always, whatever we're doing, we have to include ourselves. And it's so easy. It's part of grounding, to be honest. Grounding is a subject we need to talk about because it's very, very it's very blurry. What is grounding? If you do shit for other people, you could be active as hell. You could be on your game and everything. You're not including yourself. You're not grounded. The more
It's almost like the word, because this word's been coming up for me too. When you say grounded, it's even consideration for myself.
Yes.
Put others before me, which goes way back. But I would love to talk about grounding because that is blurred lines there. I'm not sure, I know in meditation how to ground, but how about when I'm going out and about? What does it feel like?
It's totally fascinating. Me being a yoga teacher, teaching, totally ungrounded. Telling people ground yourself, root to the la la la. I thought I was grounded. I was totally coherent. I was like, yeah, do it. I was, happy to do it, joyful, all the goodies, right? And then I remember going to a what do you call those guys who do craniosacral guy? Gets me on the couch and he says, "Oh, can you please come into the body?" I said, "What? Can you please come into the body?" I said, "What? I'm a yoga teacher. What are you talking about? I'm grounding. I've had a session just before and now I said, "No, you're not in the body." I'm like, "What?" Well, no, most of my life I have not been in the body. I literally have to bring myself in. Me not teaching yoga, the first time I'm allowing myself to be in the body when I do the work for myself, just for me, just for fun, not to tell anyone. Yes, it's so weird what we think grounding is. No,
let's talk about it because I honestly believe I think I'm grounded and I'm not. No, you're not.
I work a lot with energy field mechanics, right, for myself but also for my clients. And I have to say that just about everyone who comes to me has a closed Earth Star chakra and mostly a closed root chakra. And, the way that the energy field is shifting as we move into the 8th color of time, right, into this higher density, it's really fascinating to me. So the way that I see it, right, the way that I work is like looking at the blueprint, right, and the Earth Star chakra a foot below the feet, right, that's like your wireless docking station to Mother Earth. And that if that's closed, you're not working with that earth elemental energy, right? You're not plugged in to the biggest battery that you have access to, right, Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. Right. And then with the root chakra, that works also in conjunction with that Earth Star chakra. So for me, that functionality, right, if you had like a wounded child issue and the root chakra is closed, then that little 4-year-old you or whoever it was, a long time ago popped out of the body, right? Because things were too overwhelming and the root chakra closed and boop, bye baby, right? And so, for me, grounding is bringing all of those pieces, right, of yourself back into your body, right? It's like calling the past life soul shards back, right, into the heart center also. But it's that reintegration of all those little parts and pieces. And then, of course, the expanded awareness of it, right, of presence, right? It's like, okay, I'm here now and I'm participating with all of you, but I'm present, right? So in my body and connected to earth, so I can, hold a space for myself where this information comes, in and out, and I have an awareness of it. Right. And again, it comes back to, I don't know, a simplicity, I guess, right? Where you're moving from that center place. So, I mean, that's kind of my experience.
Fabulous. Make sure you're on next time. Maybe we talk about grounding, I just want to say something here, because yes, it's wounding, obviously, but also, correct me if I'm wrong, Tanya, but I would say we keep on in and out all the time anyway. Yeah. And this is especially when you are heavy dreamers and, you're working in the dream world a lot. It's actually a choice to be grounded. Yeah. It's a daily practice. And this
is a daily practice.
It is a daily practice, not just saying, okay, you're doing the work up here to bring your shards into the heart center. Now, what you're going to do physically to actually take it down into the lower chakra. Now, I had a dream, very interesting. It's very interesting you say we're talking about this now, because I had a dream, I think 2 days ago, where I was walking across the road. It was a tar road, and I started, like quicksand, I started disappearing in the sand, and I was with my partner, and it was just midline, yeah? And I was very often disconnected energetically from the lower chakras, and, and he was just, he just walked off, and I said, I can't get out. What are you doing? And he's like, no, you're just being overly dramatic in the dream. And then I got out myself and I cleaned myself off. And funny enough, I don't know why that was. I had gloves on, like Michael Jackson, and they were all like glitter gloves, And I was washing. I was sort of thinking, what's this glitter gloves? Anyway, so washing off, And then I had somebody phone me up from networking I used to know, wanting me to read another person. Yeah. And I was so frazzled by having had this experience. I felt like I was really drunk. Yeah. I was not grounded at all in my dream. And I did the reading and I'm thinking, what am I doing? I can't just do this reading. This guy, But the interesting thing, what I was reading, what I was saying is that the guy was sick. And what my reading was, he was sick. He had a burst appendix. Yeah, I had that too when I was 13, because of public humiliation. And I was saying in the dream, I was doing this reading for this guy, and a public humiliation is a traumatic experience, and it can cause that. Yeah. And then, of course, in the morning, I think, oh, this is interesting. I think I've just done some healing on myself for the burst appendix that I had, right? A public humiliation. Well, I never really thought of that. And that was not just necessarily in this particular lifetime, but certainly in other lifetimes. Public humiliation was something I've gone through as a witch, as a healer, as all of that. So how interesting is that? Anyway, I just thought I'd share that, because look at what you're doing in your dreams at the moment, It's quite interesting, the journeys. There's a lot of self-healing, there's a lot of healing going on. And obviously a lot of healing we're doing for other people at the same time.
I think it's interesting that, Andrew talks about the dream body living in the intestines. Right. And that a lot, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was talking about the way that when you start to go into REM sleep, then all the chakras move down into the belly area. Right. And so that is almost like a very physical, grounded experience. Right? In a way, right? And I know a lot of us, of course, were, doing all kinds of, interesting work in dream time, whether we're astral traveling or, going places. And I mean, I think that the more grounded we are, the more that we can bring that astral traveling, working with our multidimensional selves into the waking dream time. Right. Instead of doing that while we're sleeping, we can do it while we're
Absolutely.
conscious and aware and awake.
And I love that. Did you guys hear this actually? To make that connection to the dreaming body, how grounded must we be when we leave? We do this. That's our birthright and legacy. We know how to do it in the dream. We are actually more grounded in the dream than we are in awake time. I love that. Thanks so much for saying that. That's beautiful. Think of that.
I don't know if all y'all work with crystals, but there's 3 different crystals that you can work with. Obsidian.
Yep, got that.
Hematite.
Mm-hmm.
And selenite.
Yes.
And when you work with this in a triangular shape on your Earth Star chakra, it helps your body retain your spirit.
Nice.
So I have a little grounding pack that I sleep with. I just tuck it under my sheets and I sleep with that right at my feet. So that when I'm sleeping, I'm staying, in my body. I mean, of course, the multidimensional parts of me are doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah. Fabulous. But that's a huge piece here to look at. Yeah, it's a great awareness. Thanks for that. We're doing it automatically. So what is distracting us? It's just distraction. Again, fits nicely actually what we're doing here, simplicity, right? I mean, how much more am I grounded when I'm just doodling? Yeah, because I don't even know what I'm doing. It's not up in the head there. It's, I'm much more grounded then. Sitting on a red couch too. So here we go. How does it get better than that? So.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to say thanks to Tanya for that. That was great to hear. And I'd like to make a proposal to ground before we start the Zoom. Can we do that?
Sure.
Yeah, like just
I do it automatically anyway, but keep reminding us. Now let's link it to the fire. I think when I say let's sit around the fire, that's our clue, to ground. But please remind me because I will forget. Yeah,
that'd be good.
The grounding master, Amy, you're the master to ground us every time we start a Zoom. Yeah, can I delegate that? And all you need to say, guys, you sit around the fire, ground, or whatever you want to do. Or Tanya can do it too. Or whoever wants to.
Okay, whoever's, yeah. No, that's fine. Just something short. It doesn't take long, right, Tanya?
No, a second. Yeah, just focus intention, right? We don't have to be sexual about it. It's pure intention, simplicity. Less is best. Keep it simple.
Because
once you create those energy pathways, right? You remember.
Yes.
It's hard in the beginning sometimes.
You should use that phrase, less is best, to be the grounded phrase from now on for the beginning of the Zoom. Yes.
It depends on the context. That's why we got to be careful not
the grounding mantra that's to open the show or to keep us grounded and around the fire. We'll all say less is best, and that's it. We go on with the show.
LIB.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, my darlings. Is there anything else anyone wants to say? I think I've said everything I wanted to say. Shall we do the grounding next time? No, let's see. I can't really limit myself because there might be something else that's coming up. But we can maybe add to it. Yeah, let the hub of interconnectivity start working on it. But grounding dreams, that's actually quite nice to combine a little bit on that and see what else comes up. And we'll take it from there. Yeah. Fabulous. Well, thank you as always. You've been a pleasant audience. No, that was great. Thanks for being here. We had fun, and we'll do it again next week. See you then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Martina. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.